Right, let's untangle this. Today, we're plunging headfirst into the really high-stakes world of legal proceedings for, well, a figure who's been constantly in the headlines. Our deep dive today comes from an excerpt, actually, from NBC News on YouTube, featuring a legal expert. And our mission, basically, to demystify some tricky terms like mistrial, double jeopardy, and figure out what happens when a huge case just keeps going.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating here, is how the legal process itself just continues to unfold, even after what might seem like, a conclusion. These terms, they sound simple, but they often have surprising nuances that really dictate what happens next. It often defies a simple end.
Okay, speaking of what happens next, the source hits us with this right away.
Yeah.
Former Hollywood mogul Harvey Weinstein is apparently said to be charged for a third time in New York. Now, for a lot of people following this, it must sound like deja vu or just confusing. Why a third trial for the same charges?
Right. Well, it stems directly from his retrial back in June. That didn't end with, like, a full conviction or a full acquittal across the board. It was what's legally called a partial verdict.
Okay, partial verdict. What does that mean exactly?
So basically, he was convicted for sexually assaulting one woman, found not guilty in another case, but, and this is the crucial part, for the third case, the one involving Jessica Mann, the jury just couldn't agree. They were hung.
Ah, okay, a hung jury on that specific charge.
Exactly. And when that happens on a specific charge, it results in a mistrial for that charge. Now, here's the key legal point. A mistrial is not an acquittal. So the protection against double jeopardy, it doesn't kick in.
So even though it feels like everyone just went through a whole trial?
Right. It absolutely feels like that. But legally, for that specific charge where there was a mistrial, it's treated as if it was never fully decided. The slate is essentially wiped clean just for that count. So, yes, they can try it again.
Okay, so the system allows for this. This sort of do-over on that charge. Does that mean it happens right away? Or are we looking at another really long, drawn-out process? What usually happens next? Especially when so much groundwork is already laid.
Well, interestingly, these kinds of retrials, especially after a mistrial on just one count, they often move relatively quickly.
Oh, really?
Faster. Yeah, think about it. Everyone involved, prosecution, defense, the court, they've already done the huge lift, right? Witnesses are known, evidence gathered, arguments tested. They're kind of already, in trial mode. And this time it could actually be even faster because the case is now shaved down, as the source put it. It's focused on just that one victim, that one charge.
Right. Makes sense. Less complexity.
Exactly. So, yeah, the expectation is definitely that this case will go to trial again, probably in just a matter of months.
And a guilty plea. Any chance of that?
Highly unlikely, I'd say. Weinstein's team knows they got some jurors to lean towards not guilty on this specific count last time. So they probably feel, reasonably confident they might be able to get a full acquittal this time around. Why plead guilty now?
Okay, that makes sense. Now, with this new trial happening, I've got to assume it affects his current sentencing, right? From the June verdict, everything seems connected.
Oh, absolutely. It will be pushed off. That's pretty clear. The judge actually indicated he wants to wait. Wait until the outcome of this specific case is known.
Whether it's a guilty verdict or another mistrial or even an acquittal.
Precisely. The judge wants that charge resolved first, before moving ahead with sentencing on the conviction he already has from June. It just makes sense, for judicial efficiency and to get the complete picture before finalizing a sentence.
And we also have to remember it's not just New York, is it? He's got cases on the West Coast, too. Plus, his age, he's 73. How do those other cases and his age factor into what happens when sentencing does eventually happen in New York?
Right, that brings up a really important concept in sentencing, the prior record score.
Prior record score.
Yeah. So when someone's convicted and sentenced, their past criminal history basically gets tallied up into this score. Most sentencing guidelines, especially the more structured ones some states use, like with a grid or a chart, they mainly look at two things: how serious the current crime is and the defendant's criminal history, that prior record. So those West Coast cases, if they lead to convictions, they would add to his prior record score.
I see. So they count against him.
They count against him at sentencing, yes. This score, combined with the severity of whatever he's ultimately sentenced for in New York, influences the possible sentence range. Now, his age, that's not usually a direct part of the score itself, but a judge can sometimes consider age in the broader context of sentencing factors. Although the crime and the record usually weigh much more heavily under the guidelines, it all feeds into that complex calculation for his final sentence in New York whenever that happens.
Wow. Okay, what a journey through the layers of the legal system just on this one aspect. So to recap for everyone listening, we've really unpacked why there's a third trial coming. It's because of that mistrial on one specific charge, meaning double jeopardy doesn't apply there. We also heard how this retrial might actually move pretty quickly, and importantly, how it delays his current sentencing. And finally, how all these different legal battles, even on the other coast, plus his history, feed into this prior record score that will definitely shape his eventual New York sentence.
Exactly. So, thinking about all this, what does it really mean for you, the listener, trying to grasp how these complex legal processes actually work? It really brings up a fundamental question, doesn't it? How does our legal system balance the need for finality, for a case to be over, with the pursuit of justice when a clear, unanimous verdict isn't reached the first time? When does that pursuit actually end? It kind of invites you to reflect on the sometimes long, iterative nature of justice in these really complicated cases. It shows the system's commitment, perhaps, to reaching a full resolution, even if it takes multiple attempts.